time, I got to know that it was really God's plan for me to be part of the program. Because it's been a blessing to me, but not only me, but just as it has blessed me, I have also been a blessing to many people out there. And I really appreciate God for that. When I joined Compassion, we were very many children, of course, that were registered, and along the way, some of the children were departed. Some of them just left the program because they thought it was degrading them, for the whole community to know that this one comes from a poor family and that kind of stuff. So some of the children just decided to leave the program because they didn't want to be part of this group of people. But I thank God because I stayed there, and I thank God for the project staff in my project. They've really been a blessing. They've been a blessing to us. They've been a blessing to me personally. And when I joined the program, I continued with school, completed my primary, I went to secondary, and completed my secondary. Now, I am one person that does not love leadership naturally. I just don't love leading. But on the contrary, I am a leader by calling. And so, many of my friends would tell me, there is this post-nearing contest, you have all the potential, you can talk to people, you can address them, you have something to say. And I'm like, you guys, I just don't love that thing. But somehow, I would just be given the post. And I've been a leader in many places, but I have never contested for any. And after some time, I got to realize that maybe that is what God wants to use of me. Maybe it is just the leadership bit of it, even if I don't have to contest. But if I am given the position, then I have to live to that. I got saved when I was in senior 1, that was in 2001. And, well, one of the things that I really struggled with for a number of years, even when I had gotten born again, I had this bitterness, I had this anger and hatred for my father, because I kept telling myself, why would someone reject his own child? But well, he had rejected a pregnancy, maybe he wasn't ready to take care of me, but now I had grown up, and he hadn't taken any initiative to come and find out how the girl is doing, or how she's studying and how she's managing. And so I really hated my father. And I kept telling my friends, I hate that guy. I actually hated him more than I hated Satan. And, I always told my friends that if I was given a chance and I was given a gun and they placed my father there, I would kill him. I really had that bitterness. And I struggled with it for a number of years. Sometimes I would go for fellowship and they preach about forgiveness, and I'm like, oh God, help me forgive this man. And then I would forgive him then. Maybe because of the emotion, and you feel like, oh, if I don't forgive, God won't forgive me. And when I just get out of the fellowship, out of the hall, it all just comes back, and it would even be worse than what I had before. So I struggled with it really for a very long time, for a number of about 4 years. In my salvation, I still struggled with that. And that unforgiveness really hindered my ministry. I love singing. I love singing very, very much. It's just part of me. And sometimes when we would have to sing, and you are singing this song about forgive one another, I would tell my friends I'm not going to minister because I just don't mean what I'm saying. So when I was in my senior 4 vacation, that was in 2004, I met a friend of mine, and he always got this feeling that something was wrong with me, even when I was fine. And he kept asking me, what's wrong with me? And I kept telling him, I'm fine. Is mommy fine? And I tell him, yeah, and the sisters and the brothers, and I tell him they're all fine. And he's all well, and I'm like, yeah, all is well. But he told me that every time he prayed, God somehow revealed to him that something is wrong with Maureen, but God did not let him know what exactly it was. So for many days, he kept asking me and calling me and asking me what was wrong with me. And I kept telling him, nothing is wrong with me. And I kept wondering why he was asking me, because nothing really was wrong with me. I didn't know there was something deep down in my heart. that was really wrong with me. So after some time, he called me and we sat down and he was talking to me just about life. And he was telling me, the people that you meet on your way are very important to you, because you might get to meet them when you are coming back. You might get a problem out there and they'll be the ones to help you. And you know, when he told me all that, I kept reminding myself of all the many times that I thought all the bad things about my father. And so after some time, I opened up to him and I told him my story. I told him how bitter I was, I told him how angry I was. And so he answered me and we prayed together, and after that, it just went. You know, I got this new feeling. I began to love my father, even when I didn't know him, you know. Although I knew he was there, I didn't know him. And before, I didn't even want to know him, because I thought he's not any important to me. But after that, when I began to love him, I began to feel like I need to find some time and look for my father and tell him I've forgiven him for everything that he had done. And my life really changed. And that is the biggest testimony that I have. I got born again, but besides that, I also learned to forgive. Now, when I finished my senior six, I'm the first lady on LDP program from my project. And it seemed like, to everyone around me, it seemed like an obvious case. And everyone kept telling me, Noreen, we believe in you, we know you're going to make it to LDP. And for me, I was like, it's not an obvious case, because many of my friends, like from other clusters, had kept telling me it's hard, you have to do interviews, you have to pray, you have to answer a lot of questions. And people were telling me it's obvious for you, although for me, I thought it wasn't obvious. And so I prayed about it, and many of my friends and the project staff and staff of the cluster prayed with me. And when I did the interviews, I happened to go through, and I joined Uganda Christian University. Now, everything that has gone on in my life, I really attribute it to God. My mother is not born again, surprisingly, but she allows me to do anything that I want to do. She allows me to go for the conferences for whatever time it takes, 2 weeks, 1 month. She even gives me the money to pay. She will give you the transport to that place and some upkeep. She allows me to go and spend overnights in church, but she's not born again. And I kept praying and telling God, I'm like, God, I have ministered to many people out there. I've turned many of my friends to Christ, but I don't want you to forget about my family, because I was the only one that was born again. So I kept praying and praying. I prayed for years. Oh my God. I reached some time and I told God, now where I have reached, I don't want to do anything else. If you want to save them, save them. If you don't want to leave them. So I stopped praying about it. And after 8 years, one of my brothers, my follower, gave his life to Christ. I said, okay, I think it's time to begin praying again, now that God is working. So I continued praying. I continued praying and praying for my family and encouraging my brother. I was so happy when he got saved, because he was this boy that was a big problem to us. And when he got born again, it was one of the best things God had done for my family. So my mom is not saved up to now, and I'm still praying about it. I know that she will one day give her life to Christ at his own appointed time. Now, I told you that I want to be a human rights activist, because I've seen many people in this country, many people in my community that have not been able to gain justice just because they are disadvantaged. The rich people have taken advantage over the poor people. You get a case of defilement, and this rich guy has defiled a daughter of a very poor lady there in the village, and because he has some money for a bribe, he just gives it to the lawyer or to the judge, and the case is just won. It really hurts me. It hurts me so much. And every time I read such stories and I'm like, God, but can't you change the hearts of these people? I really feel so bad about it. And that is the passion that I have. That is what I want to do, especially for the children. I want to advocate for the children. There are children out there whose parents can